All right, are you ready for the next massive platform shift after artificial intelligence? Because honestly, if you're only looking at AI right now, you are missing a giant wave building just beneath the surface. Our source material today projects that quantum computing could create up to, get this, $2.7 trillion of economic value worldwide by 2035. This is absolutely no longer just a theoretical science experiment. It's a highly investable macroeconomic shift. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're delivering an executive briefing designed specifically for those of you looking to deploy capital in the quantum ecosystem. We are tracking a really definitive transition here. Quantum technology has officially moved out of the research lab and is undergoing a rapid commercial awakening. Here is our briefing agenda for today. We'll be covering Section 1, the commercial tipping point. Section 2, hardware stability and error correction. Section 3, projecting quantum revenue streams. Section 4, navigating the Q-Day threat. Section 5, the global quantum arms race. And finally, Section 6, the 2040 investment horizon. Okay, let's dive right in with Section 1, the commercial tipping point. Let's look at the financial momentum validating this market right now. The private capital explosion we are seeing in this sector is just staggering. According to the latest McKinsey Quantum Technology Monitor, investment in quantum tech startups hit $12.6 billion in 2025. To put that into perspective, that is 6.3 times higher than just the previous year. And that private money, it's flowing right alongside a massive surge in public funding, which recently eclipsed $10 billion globally. For venture capital, the window for early-stage deployment is narrowing rapidly, as megadeals concentrate resources among a few really highly capitalized leaders. And the cost of inaction is rising for major enterprises too. As the McKinsey report explicitly states, innovation-driven companies can no longer afford to just wait and see. Over 300 global organizations, we're talking heavyweights like Airbus, JP Morgan Chase, and Braininger Ingelheim, are actively integrating quantum applications into their end-to-end workflows right now. They aren't just playing around in a sandbox, they are building defensible intellectual property in real-world use case development. Now, for those looking for immediate public market exposure, consider this massive milestone. The Defiance Quantum ETF, ticker QTUM, recently crossed $4 billion in assets under management. What makes this fund so successful isn't just taking bets on pure-play quantum stocks, which, let's face it, can be tiny and pretty volatile. Instead, it utilizes a classic picks and shovels investment strategy. The heaviest weightings in the fund actually go to the semiconductor and equipment makers who supply the critical components these quantum computers absolutely rely on. Moving on to Section 2, hardware stability and error correction. The real driver behind this whole commercial awakening is a massive leap forward in hardware reliability. So, grounding ourselves in the physical reality of this technology for a second. The bottleneck for commercial scale is no longer just how many qubits you can string together on a single chip. It is entirely about the physical supply chain required to actually operate these systems. We are talking about severe physical limits to scale, things like dilution refrigerators, ultra-high vacuum systems, cryo-CMOS controllers, and quantum-grade lasers. Mastering this physical infrastructure is literally the key to unlocking the entire ecosystem. But the good news? The hardware is stabilizing, specifically through some major breakthroughs in quantum error correction. Google recently unveiled its Willow chip, featuring 105 physical qubits that can perform complex calculations exponentially faster than current supercomputers, all while maintaining incredibly low error rates. In tandem with that, startups like Alice and Bob are presenting entirely new error correction architectures. Riverlane has launched a lightning-fast hardware-based decoder, and Quira just introduced a logical quantum processor using reconfigurable atom arrays. These are the exact innovations transitioning quantum from a fragile lab experiment into a stable commercial utility. Section 3, projecting quantum revenue streams. Let's see exactly how this hardware stability translates into actionable opportunities. Right now, we're tracking a total internal quantum market projected to reach up to $97 billion by 2035. When we slice that pie up, quantum computing naturally commands the lion's share, estimated somewhere between $28 and $72 billion. But definitely do not ignore the other two pillars here. Quantum communication is projected to reach up to $15 billion, and quantum sensing is expected to pull in up to $10 billion. In fact, quantum sensing is demonstrating immediate, real-world commercial traction right this second. The defense sector is actively adopting this technology. For instance, QCTRL is utilizing quantum magnetometers to allow for navigation in environments where GPS is jammed or totally denied. Over in the commercial semiconductor space, Quantum Diamonds has launched a diamond-based microscopy tool specifically for ultra-precise semiconductor failure analysis. So this isn't a decade away. These are real products being deployed and generating revenue today. Section 4. Navigating the Q-Day threat. This brings us to perhaps the single most urgent commercial driver in the entire space, cybersecurity. So the absolutely crucial point here is understanding a concept called Q-Day. This is the impending moment when quantum computers become powerful enough to effortlessly factor the exceptionally large numbers that currently secure our global public key cryptography. When Q-Day hits, the foundational security of the global financial sector, telecommunications, and national defense is quite simply entirely undermined. It's a massive deal. Because of this looming threat, the timeline for adopting post-quantum cryptography, or PQC, is accelerating really rapidly. Enterprise security reassessment is happening right now across the board, fueling a massive, highly defensible market for PQC algorithms that are specifically designed to withstand quantum attacks. For investors, this represents a major opportunity. Securing global data transfer at scale is an absolutely unavoidable enterprise expense over the next decade. Section 5. The Global Quantum Arms Race. Let's pan out a bit and look at the macro level. Taking a neutral look at the data reveals some very clear geopolitical moats being established through intellectual property. Looking at global patent leadership, the United States currently leads significantly in patents for both quantum communication and quantum sensing. Conversely, China currently holds the leadership position in patent applications specifically for quantum computing. And the concentration of that IP is pretty striking. Looking at the data from the McKinsey report, we see the US and Japan dominating the share of global patents that are actually granted. But when you look at patent applications, which is essentially the pipeline of future IP, US and Chinese companies are filing over 50% of the global total. If you are deploying venture capital right now, understanding exactly where these geographic and technological moats are being dug is absolutely vital. To support all this IP development, massive regional innovation hubs are being constructed through some really heavy public-private partnerships. The state of Illinois has committed $500 million to a new quantum park. Down in Brisbane, Australia, heavy government backing is helping PsiQuantum build a utility-scale fault-tolerant facility. Singapore is pouring over $300 million into a national strategy, while Japan recently announced a staggering $7.4 billion bet on the sector. Governments are effectively stepping in and de-risking the infrastructure costs for private enterprises and investors. Section 6. The 2040 Investment Horizon. Let's conclude our briefing by looking at the long-term view. The path to 2040 is going to be dictated entirely by who can resolve severe physical supply chain bottlenecks. The Advanced Technology Market Research highlights critical shortages in helium-3, which is the rarest commercially traded isotope required for extreme cooling. There are severe capacity limits in manufacturing those dilution refrigerators we talked about, accessing specialized cryo-CMOS foundries, and producing ultra-narrow line-width quantum lasers. For the VC audience, this completely reinforces why investing in the picks and shovels, the highly specialized component manufacturers solving these exact physical limits, might just offer the most durable returns in the entire ecosystem. Because if those scaling and supply chain constraints are solved, the payout is historic. By the year 2040, the total quantum technology market is projected to reach an incredible $198 billion. The transition from pure research to commercial deployment is happening today. Valuations are climbing, technical roadmaps are advancing fast, and the top-tier talent and infrastructure are rapidly consolidating among just a few key players. The cost of inaction is rising every day. So I will leave you with this final thought based on all the data we've covered today. Are you positioned to capture the quantum advantage before the ecosystem completely consolidates? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and we will see you next time.